Cheveley Park is one of the oldest studs in Newmarket, and we've come here ahead of the busiest time of year. The breeding sheds are about to open, the mares have started to have their foals, and there are 7 stallions on the roster here, but there's certainly no doubting who's top of the pecking order.
Comes the mighty Pivotal.
Yeah. You're obviously ready for action, Chris.
Yeah, he is, yeah. He's certainly, at the age of 23, he's certainly looking forward to the start of the breeding season.
Yeah. And he looks amazing, as you say. He's 23 now, but, I mean, he's in such good condition, isn't he?
Yes, you know, he's a very happy horse. I think it's very reflective. You know, John Rice, who's the stallion man presenting him, he and his team do a fantastic job, and they're very calm. And the horses, you know, take that mantle. They'll, you know, they just, you know, they know their routine. They're happy. You know, they know the people, you know, that look after them. You know, John looks after him, and you know, they live and work with them all, you know, literally 24/7. You know, he's a phenomenal horse. I mean, you know, it's a great honour for the Thompsons too to have, you know, to have bred and raised him, raced him. Sir Mark Presker's, you know, trained him, and you know, to have won the Nunthorpe was, you know, a great triumph. And actually, I think it was the very first Group 1 that the Thompsons had in their own colours.
And that said, I mean, you had brilliant credentials coming to stud, but could you have ever imagined just what a phenomenon he's been?
Not at all. It was a funny story, really, because I had, at the time, I had 4 yearlings by his sire, Polar Falcon. 3 of them we took to sales, and all of them made in excess of 100,000. But none of them were as good as he was. And we took Sir Mark down to look at him, and I said, you know, Mr. Thompson decided he'd like to keep this horse, and you know, would you be happy to train him? And he said, yes, that'd be lovely. I'd love to train him, and the rest, as they say, is history. But you know, he's just one of those special horses. I mean, he's had over 125 individual stakes winners, 26 individual Group 1 winners. He's had a classic, you know, a classic distance winner over a mile and a half to champion sprinters. He's just had such a versatile stallion who's had such a huge influence on the breed.
That's the thing, he's had so many different types of horses. In your experience of working with him, have you established a mare that suits him, or, you know, a mating that you particularly like doing? I think, well, I suppose the Danehill line has crossed very successfully with him, but he's one of those horses that actually will mix with just about anything. I mean, I think his size, you know, he doesn't look a big horse when you see him stood there, but actually he is quite a good size at 16.2. But he, you know, I think the neat, sharp horses. But you know, he said, oh, you know, is it better to send speed mares or milers? But it doesn't really matter. I think, you know, he will put in speed to speed, or he'll put in a little bit more speed to the stamina bred mare. Yeah. And you've obviously seen plenty of his progeny. Yes. You stand them here at stud. What do you think characterises them? What sets them apart?
I think probably his attitude to life. A lot of them have that sort of wonderful sort of mental. You know, he's a very intelligent horse. He's a horse that sort of knows exactly what it's all about, what he's got to do. He doesn't worry. He doesn't stress. You know, he knows. He goes out in his paddock. He just enjoys his time out there. He goes into the covering yard. He does what he needs to do. You know, he comes out and, you know, he's never stressed about anything, which I think is fantastic. And a lot of his progeny are like that. They're all very solid mentally.
Yeah, you definitely get special treatment, Chris. We've seen the penthouse suite, which John lives next door to, so he can keep an eye on him. He's got different bedding to some of the others. I mean, he does get a little bit of an extra touch.
The only difference now is that in the old days they used to have a little cubby hole that they could look through. The stallion man used to look through the wall so he could check his stallion. Now, of course, we've got all these cameras and things, but it's still, it's the history of the stud, and then the fact that, you know, this is one of the oldest studs in Newmarket, and you know, they say they've been horses here for 1,000 years, so it's, you know, it's a legacy that we're continuing on, and Mr. and Mrs. Thompson say, we are custodians of this wonderful estate, and I think it's a great honour for them, myself and the team that I have here to be able to, to be doing that for them, and as I say, it's not one person. You're surrounded by a great team of people, and that's the nice thing about it. John Rice has been with this horse for, as he said, for looking after him for all this time. He knows everything about it. He will ring and say, look, even the smallest thing, like he might have done a dropping in the wrong part of the box.
Oh God!
And it's that technical that he will know exactly that he's maybe not 100% today. We've got to take his temperature. We've got to do this, and
I wonder who comes first as well.
It's a question for him, I think.
Yeah.
He's the main man up here. Yeah, I've been doing him for 11 years now. Oh, he's very much so. Yeah.
What's he like to deal with?
He's pretty straightforward. He's a man of a horse, He's he takes no messing, but he's pretty straightforward. Just keep it nice and simple with him, and he's grand.
And you have an exceptionally close relationship with him, because I've just seen your house literally is just next door to
Yeah, that's my bedroom in here. I can hear everything he does at night, and I can keep an eye on him with the cameras in the house as well. Yeah. So it's nice to see everything he does.
And what's the sort of routine? Obviously, the breeding sheds are about to open next week. What sort of things will you be doing with him?
I'll feed him now at about 6:30 in the morning, and then we start exercising about 7:30 once it gets light outside. He'll have his first mare in about 9:30 in the morning, and then once his job is done, he'll go out to the paddock for 3 or 4 hours, and then back in about 1:30 for his 3 o'clock mare. And then he gets rugged up and fed at about 4:30. And then, if he has a mare at 8 o'clock in the evening, he'll get that. He'll have his mare done and rugged up and bed, and he's ready for the next day.
It's quite a rigorous schedule, really.
Oh, it is. You get used to it this time of year. Yeah. Oh, we go, big fella. Yeah, you get used to it. It's long old days, but it's what we're here for, and this fella enjoys his job, loves it.
And has he always been a true professional? Has he changed over the years?
Yeah, 5 minutes in that barn, in and out, and no bother with him.
And do you find that, character-wise, you've obviously got some fantastic stallions here. Does he know he's the main man?
He does, yeah. He can see all the mares coming into that coupling barn. He sticks his head out there, and he never stresses. He just knows it'll be my turn in a minute,
I imagine it's quite easy to get attached to them, but is he always the favourite?
Oh, he's always been number one, this fella. And you follow his offspring at the, you hope they're all going to do well. You're going to get another champion out of him, I don't think I'll ever do another one like him again. I'll be very lucky if I do.
The stallions, Chris, are doing their walk around the stud. Is that sort of something they do regularly?
Yes, it's part of their sort of routine. You've got Pivotal in front here with Lethal Force following in second. You can see they're all, they're all fit, ready to roll. They're ready to get busy during the start of the season. We then have Lethal Force there, who's written in Garswood, who's we're excited about. He's got his first foals this year, and Mason, who has got his first 2-year-olds this year. So there's lots to look forward to in that respect.
And I noticed Pivotal's leading the string. Do they have a pecking order? Does he always have to lead?
Yeah, he's the sort of calming influence, really.
Right.
He's sort of the elder statesman, so to speak. I think it's like all things. There's sort of, horses are, like to be in a herd. They're a herd animal. They're not a single. They prefer those. They go out in a paddock on their own, and that's part of the routine of what happens once they become successful stallions. But I think with the excitement of having us here, they're a little bit more on their toes, but normally they just sort of stroll around. But then they go out in the paddock, they're out, whatever the weather, whether it's snowing or rain, they much prefer to keep in a routine. They're much more relaxed as a result of it. If you keep them up for 2 or 3 days, they get very wound up, and then of course they'll go out and they'll gallop across the paddock, and then you're sort of looking at them thinking, no, be careful, look after yourselves, and
and they're such valuable assets. That's the thing.
absolutely, yeah.
But at the same time, you've got to treat them like horses.
Yes.
You can't.
Yeah.
Get too carried away.
As I say, if the routine, once they know their routine, they're pretty relaxed. It's like the coverings. We start. The first mare will come at 9:30 in the morning, and then if that stallion has a second mare booked in for that day, then they'll come at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then if we have to have an evening slot, it's 8 o'clock. We don't actually board the mares here ourselves that are visiting our stallions, and we'll probably cover between 500 and 600 mares to the horses this year. So the boarding studs will ring in the morning and say, my mare's ready for covering. Could I possibly have a service in a couple of days' time? And so we'll slot it, put it in the book. And then once the first slot's taken, obviously the person that rings up next gets the second slot, and so it works. We're very lucky in that with the veterinary practices we have in Newmarket, it's the number of cross covers that you have to do is really quite small, and a cross cover is when a mare is covered once and then doesn't perhaps ovulate, and then has to be bred again 2 or 3 days later.
So Dale, this is one of the first foals you've had on the farm. What have you got here?
This is a Garswood colt out of a mare called Oasis Mirage, which is 8 days old today. So it's just the first Garswood we've had at Cheveley this year. So far, there's a few more to come.
And it's amazing, I mean, already just 8 days old. Is this the general routine with the foals? They have to get used to being shown and having handled?
These get walked up sort of every other day so we can see the conformation, and how they're growing, which way the legs are going, so the farrier knows what we're doing with them. They get handled quite a lot by the lads. Head collars come off every night and on every day, so they're used to having things done to them.
Yeah. And what are you looking for?
Basically,
confirmation.
With a foal this age now, you'll be looking to see if it's pushing its toes out or in, or various things with lumps, bumps, anything that's sort of wrong with it. But as you can see by this one, it's all good at the moment. So it's
making sure everything's in line.
Yeah. As you do, you start now looking at your yearling prospecting, another sort of year when they get to the sales.
And we've seen Garswood this morning. I mean, it's very early days, but what sort of stock and what sort of stock?
Well, you sort of look at this one, and it's the first one I've seen. It's the first foal as well, which is a nice size for a mare that size. As you can see, it's got a bit of character about it, as Garswood has.
And do the foals, do they go out in the fields?
These will get turned out.
Routine?
We try and get them out sort of the day after they're born, so it does the mare good to get out. Otherwise, you turn them out 2 days later, they're a bit fresh. Could kick the foals. So they go they'll have a week and a half in nursery paddocks on their own, and then they'll get grouped into sort of bunches of 5 or 6, depending on what time of year it is and how things are going out in the paddocks with the grass. So they'll spend sort of 3 or 4 weeks in the main yard, and then they get shipped out to one of the other yards where they'll spend until they get weaned, and they get shipped over to Sandwich, where another new thing in their life, where they get ready for the yearling sales.
And there's no break for the mares, is there, Dale? Because as soon as they've had one foal, it's into the stallion. What's the sort of
Well, this mare's been checked
this
morning, so she's 8 days from foaling, so she's been scanned and swabbed and everything like that, so we'll keep an eye on her, but then she'll get looked at again at 27 days from foaling, and then with an eye to being covered after that, sort of when she's in season, when she's right. So the vet looks at her sort of 2 or 3 times between now and the time she's covered.
Yeah, and some of them can go straight in.
Yeah, I mean, we can cover on a foal heat, but we tend not to do that much at Cheveley. It's more 27 to a month after.
And 3 foals so far. How many have you got to foal here?
We've got another, altogether I think we've got 92 to foal in total, but they're split between 2 farms, so we've got 41 left to go this side. And I think Noel over the other side, I think he's got 7 on the ground so far. So
it's going to be a pretty busy few months.
Pretty busy few months.
And they all foal at night generally?
Not necessarily. I mean, we have somebody, basically they're at the paddocks now and they get, somebody's checking them sort of every 20 minutes. And then when they're in, they're all under camera. I have cameras in my house which I watch until the night watchman comes on at 8, and then there's somebody there 24/7. Basically they're under, you know, there's always somebody keeping an eye on them. You don't, last thing you want is one following the paddock when there's other mares out there.